and welcome to another episode. In today's episode, I am going to be talking about the float property in CSS. But before we get started, if you're new to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you find this video useful, share it with someone else. And also, if you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you want to support my channel, I am going to leave my PayPal link in the description below. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so to get started with CSS float, I need you to go to the same website we've been using so far, which is w3schools.com. You're going to jump into the CSS section and you're going to scroll all the way down to where it says CSS float. Now as well, I need you to open the same website we have been working so far, and I need you to have open also your code. Now, what I'm going to do right now, it's clear out. Let's go ahead and actually clear out the content, everything. I'm going to clear out everything. I'm going to clear out the style, and I'm also going to clear out all the divisions that we added in our previous episode. Make sure to save both, and let's start with a blank page. Let's hit refresh, and boom, there we go. So we have an empty website right now. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the CSS float property and as well the clear property. This is part of the layout in CSS. So the float property is the one that specifies how an element should float. And the clear property will specify what elements can float besides the clear element and on which side. Okay, so here we have two examples. This is a float left and this is a float right. So on the float property, we have the following values. We have left, right, none, and inherit. Left moves the element to the left side. The right moves and actually floats the element to the right. None, well, the element does not float, and this will be displayed just where it occurs in the text, just so you know. And then inherit, which the element will inherit the float value of its parent. So today I am going to show you the left and right values, and then I want you to go ahead and actually play around with none and inherit. You can take a look at our previous episodes on CSS. I've already explained the inherit value in some other chapters with other properties, so it's similar to that. Okay, so here's an example for float right. So in order to create this float right, let's take a look and see here where it says try it yourself. So here is what is going to happen. If we use float right, we're going to arrange the image that we see here to the right side of the screen. So first of all, I want you to go back to your code. We're going to add a paragraph here. Let's do that first. Okay, let's add a paragraph and let's add just some content into our paragraph. There we go. Now, the first thing that I want to add before the paragraph here is going to be an image. So let's go ahead and do that. Allow me 1 second here. Okay, so let's add an image. And the source of the image is going to be images. That's the folder we are working. And we are going to select the one with the puppy. Okay, so that's the one we are going to select right now. There we go. So I'm going to hit save. Now going back to our page, let's hit refresh. So here we have the puppy, and then here we have the paragraph. Now there's one more thing I want to do. I want to give this image a style. Let's apply some width and height to the image. Okay, so we're going to apply a width of 100 pixels. Let's do 200 pixels. Let's do 300 pixels. Okay, just so you can see it. And then the height of the image is going to be also 300 pixels. Okay, let's make sure that we say it's 300 pixels. Okay, so I'm going to save that and then hit refresh. There we go. So now we have an image, which is big, still with 300 pixels. Let's make it 100 pixels, just so we can fit the paragraph a little bit better. There we go. So this is the image. As you can see, is at the beginning of the paragraph because we added the image before we added the entire, all the wording, right, for the paragraph. So with the float property here in CSS, we can float the image right or left depending upon what we want to do. So here we have some content, right? Here we have some paragraphs that has been added. Now I'm going to add a little bit more paragraphs here. Yeah, let me copy this and let's just paste a couple of paragraphs there. And let's refresh here. So there you go. So we have a little bit more content here so you can see this example. Now, we're going to go ahead and go back to our example here. The only thing that we did is apply to the image a float right, the property float, and then the value right, and then the image will move to the right. So let's do that here with our code. On style, we are going to make this float to the right. So let's float this image to the right. Let's hit save. Going back to our code, let's hit refresh. And boom, you see now how the image is moving to the right. So that's what you can do with the float property. And you can do the same thing if you apply the left. Instead of going to the right, it'll go to the left. Let's change that to the left. Let's hit save and let's hit refresh. And boom, you see now how the image changes to the left. And as you can see, it not only changes just to the first line, but it changes to the entire width and height of the image. And then the paragraph will continue after the image, right below the image. Okay, so those are two things you can do with the float property here. So let's go back here to W3 schools. I already showed you the float left. Now here, if you make it not to float, as we went ahead and we saw on the example, obviously, you know, the image is going to start in the first line of the paragraph. So as an example here, the image is starting in the first line of the paragraph. So if we go ahead and we apply the value none to this, just take a look and see what this is going to do. Let's hit save. Going back to our code, let's hit refresh. And see, it goes back to the default. So it's just being applied into the first line of the paragraph. So I hope that this so far has made sense to you. If it has, make sure that you practice with some other images, with some divisions, and that will help you out way more. And also, if you have questions, you can leave them in the comment section below and I will reply as soon as I can. Now, moving on here with the float property, I want to show you a couple of things that you can do when you can make divisions float each other's, right? One and then the other one and then the other one, so that you can create like a cool layout. Here they have input 3 divisions. We're going to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to clear all this information and I'm also going to clear the paragraph right now. Okay, and I am going to add a division. Okay, so let's add a div and let's give it a class of example number 1. Okay, yes, the example number 1, then I'm going to create the same division 3 more times. So example number 2, and this one is going to be called example number 3. Now, the only thing we're giving is a different background colors to each division. So let's go back here and we're going to call example number 1. Okay, and let's give a background color of, let's do black. Then I'm going to copy this and I'll simply paste it 3 more times just to call example number 2 and then example number 3. Now this one is going to be red. Okay, and then the last one, the last division is going to be blue. Okay, let's just make it that way. And okay, so to all divisions, we want to give a padding of 15 pixels and we want to make them float left. So right now, if I hit refresh, you don't see anything, okay? Because we still have to apply something into the divisions here, okay? We have to apply what we call the float, and we have to apply the padding property. So going back to our code here, let's go ahead and let's make sure to do that. Okay, so first thing we're going to call here is going to be all divs. We're going to call all divs, and we're going to make sure to all those divs that we just created, we apply a float to the left, each one of them, and then we're going to have a padding to each one of, let's use the same as the example here, 15 pixels. So let's do 15 pixels to each. And if you can hit here, try it yourself, you will see exactly how this is going to look like, as you can see here. So we're going to add just some text here, and we're going to put example number 1. Then here we're going to say example number 2, and then here we're going to say example number 3. Okay, we're going to hit save. Make sure to hit also save on your style. And let's hit, well, refreshing our code, and boom, there it is. Okay, so we have example number 1, number 2, and number 3. So you can go ahead and actually play around with this and see how you can use the float property to accommodate divisions and make the look of your website so much pretty. So moving on to the next topic, which is the clear property. Let's go ahead and read a little bit first. So with the clear property, when we use the float property and we want the next element below, not on the right or the left, we will have to use a clear property. So the clear property will specify what should happen with the element that is next to a floating element. Okay, and the clear property also has the following values. It has the value none, left, right, both, or inherit. So here we're going to see a couple of examples with the clear property so that you can understand better what this is going to do. Taking a look at the first example, let's hit here where it says try it yourself. Here we have a division without the clear property, and here we have a division with a clear property. So what I am going to do is make sure that I use the same divisions we have right now here. We have 3 examples, right? And I am going to remove here this that we apply to all divisions. We are just simply going to apply to the example number 2. In fact, let's just leave example number 1 and number 2. And I am going to delete example, or you know what, let's do the following. I am going to recall example number 3, and we are going to add one more example, which is going to be example number 4. Okay, and then in here, we're going to add a division as well with a class of example number 4. And we're going to call this example number 4, of course. Okay, and we're going to hit here, save. And going back to our code, if I hit refresh right now, you see that none of them has the float property right now. So what I am going to do is copy the same style that we have seen here. For division number 1, they have a float left and a padding of 10 pixels, and then they have some border. So I'm only going to paste the float and the padding for the example number 1. I'm just going to leave it like that. Let's hit save and let's hit refresh, making sure this has been applied. Okay, there it is. Then I am going to apply to the division number 2 a padding of 10 pixels only. So let's go ahead and copy this, the padding, okay, and we're going to apply this to the example number 2. Then to the example number 3 here, we're going to take the float and the padding. Okay, and we're going to apply this to example number 3. And then to example number 4, we're going to take the padding and we're going to take also the clear left, but I'm going to apply that till the end. Okay, so I'm going to hit save now. Let's go back to our welcome page and let's hit refresh. And boom, so here you have the first property, the first division, we have a float to the left. On the second division, we don't have any float, as you can see. So the first one has a float. The second one does not have a float. Now the third one has a background color of blue. Oh, the fourth one, let's make the background color be just pink so we can differentiate one from the other. Okay, so the second one, as you can see, doesn't have a padding. Now I'm going to apply the clear element here. The clear property, I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and apply the clear property. And we are going to make it clear to the left. Okay, and I'm going to hit save. Now we're going to hit refresh. And boom, there you go. So see, if you do not apply the clear property to the element which is next to an element that has the float property, this is how it will be displayed. It'll be like one next to the other. Now, if you give a float to example number 4 here, As you can see, this has a float. Example number 3 has a float. And then example number 4 has clear to the left. Then it's going to go away. Okay, so as you can see, now has been ordered below example number 3. Okay, so that's what you do with the clear property. Okay, so that's how you use the float and the clear properties. If you want to go ahead and actually take a look at what other things you can do with the clear and float properties, you are more than welcome to visit w3schools.com. You can go into this website and you can even read a little bit more of things that you can do here using the clear and float properties. Now, if you hit here float examples, you're going to find really great layouts that you can use for your website. So I encourage you to try them out. I encourage you to practice and make sure you become a great developer one step at a time. Okay, so that was it for this episode, everyone. I hope you liked it. If you did, remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, remember that you can always ask Lixi. Bye, everyone, and see you again in the next episode.